StraightallDay.com.
StraightallDay.com, workonyourgame.com. This message is specifically for the men out there in this current society that we're living in. And this is about, you can't be a victim and be true to your masculinity at the same time. You have to decide which one matters more to you. And when I say being a victim, I'm talking about any form of victimhood that you have been conditioned to, that is being sold to you, or anything that you have just picked up on your own volition. Whether you learned it on a college campus, you learned it from somebody you follow on social media, you learned it from your family members, you learned it from other people who you know, like, and trust, and they told you should feel like a victim because fill in the blank with whatever reason. Masculinity and victimhood don't mix. So you got to decide which one you are. Now understand, when I say masculinity, that doesn't mean that you can't have emotions and you can't be an emotional person. If that's the type of person you are, be that person. Masculinity is about, I did a whole episode of this. I did like 3 or 4 episodes of this on my masterclass podcast about masculinity. So you can go look those up, listen to them yourself if you want to hear them in full detail. But the whole concept is this. So we understand that humanity started with Adam and Eve, right? Adam was the man, Eve was brought on as a helpmate to Adam. All right, this is all in the Bible, and I'm no expert on the Bible, but I know this much. And the man's role is as the leader. The man's role is as the person in front. So the reason why I'm telling you that you can't be a victim and be true to your masculinity at the same time is because if you do fall into victimhood, you fall into the mindset of being a victim. This is much more about the mindset than anything that actually happens to you. In fact, it's impossible for anybody else in the group to move the group forward if the leader is feeling like a victim. If the leader is feeling like a victim, everybody else is going to feel like a victim. Your energy is going to flush through the entire group, for lack of a better term. And when you're feeling like a victim because I feel like a victim because of my nationality, or because of your religion, or because of your race, or because of, again, any other reason that you could come up with, that you feel like you are being victimized, you feel like somebody else is going against you, you feel like somebody's trying to slow you down, you feel like somebody's trying to hurt you, you feel like somebody's trying to stop you, you feel as if somebody is not on your side. Listen, I'm not even telling you that you're wrong. You might be right. Maybe somebody is trying to hurt you. Maybe somebody is trying to oppose you. Maybe somebody is trying to oppress you and keep you from achieving success in life. Here's my question to you. If that's true, what you want to do? You going to lay down and cry like a bitch? Or are you going to get up and do something about the situation? Because that's what a man does. A man gets up and does something about a situation that's in front of him. He doesn't lay down and cry about the situation and just let the situation have its way with him. Because if a man's doing that, then he's not fulfilling his role as a man. And again, this is not to say that you can't have emotion, you can't have feelings, and you can't have thoughts. I mean, you're going to have thoughts that cross your mind that might make you feel for a minute like, damn, this is not going the way that I want it to go. But it's a matter of how long do you stay in that space before you get back to, okay, I understand that, I see that feeling, I acknowledge that feeling, I acknowledge that thought, but at the same time, let me step back into my role, let me step back into my frame and do what I'm supposed to be doing here, which is being a leader that I was destined to be by being born a man. All right, this is just how it works. This is the game. And all the people who are around you, especially if you have women in your life, their role is as supporter of you. But if you're not standing up and having a backbone and being a man that you're supposed to be, then what can they support? See, it's hard for the woman to support the man who isn't standing up being a man. She can support the man who's being a man about his situation. And being a man about his situation doesn't mean you have to pretend to be tough or pretend like everything's okay. It just means you got to step up and take the leadership role so that everybody else can play their role in following. Because if the leader doesn't do their role as a leader, then the followers can't do their role as a follower because they don't have anybody to follow. Then you get followers stepping up and you get followers playing a leadership role and leaders like you playing a follower role. And that's when you get chaos, when people are out of their frames and not doing the role that they were assigned to do. This is what happens with people. And this all starts with, as I've talked about the chaotic things that happen in life when people get out of their frames, and we start throwing away standards, and we start throwing away objectivity, and we start throwing away truth. We get chaos as a result. And this all stems from, if I was to put this on one group of people, where this all comes from, we want to blame somebody, I got an answer for that. The answer is men. The group that is to blame for all the chaos that's going on right now, and all the chaos that continues to grow right now in our society, the group that is most to blame for this is men. Now, why are men the most to blame for this? Because all men who are listening to this, your role is to lead. Your role is to see what the game is and keep the game going on the path that it's supposed to go on. Your role is to uphold and maintain the standards that have been set in place for everybody. And if you're not doing your job, actually, let me back up. If I walk into the room and I see chaos, first thing I'm thinking to myself is, okay, whoever's in charge here is not doing their job. If I go to an elementary school and I walk into a second grade classroom and I see that the kids are all running around, throwing desks, playing with paper, not listening, just doing whatever they want to do, and this is a whole free-for-all in that classroom, what's the first thing we're going to think? Me and you walking there together, what's the first thing we're going to think? The first thing we're going to think is not what little Johnny is doing and what little Sally is doing wrong. First thing I'm going to think is, who the hell is supposed to be in charge in here, and why are they not doing their job? That's the first thing I'm going to think. Who's in charge, and why are they not doing what they're supposed to do? Because the first thing we do is look to the leader. Any of you who knows anything about the Bible, and again, I'm no expert on the Bible, but I know some things. When Eve took a bite of the apple in the Garden of Eden, off that tree of forbidden fruit, the first thing God said when Eve took the bite of that apple was, Adam, where are you? First thing God wanted to know, he didn't question Eve. He didn't say, Eve, why'd you do that? He didn't say, Eve, you're not supposed to eat from the apple. The first thing he did, he didn't even acknowledge Eve. The first thing he did was acknowledge Adam and say, yo, you're supposed to be in charge here. Why are you not playing your role? Why are you not doing your job? That's the man's job, to be running things. And if things are not being run right, that means the man is failing. In society, we look around the exact same thing. And if you know anything about the corporate world, you understand. When an organization is not performing the way it's supposed to be performing in any level of an organization, especially in the corporate world, what's the first thing that happens? When whoever's on top, when they come in, what's the first thing they do? They fire the person in charge. When a basketball team, football team, hockey, soccer, baseball team is not performing well in professional sports, what's the first thing that happens? Coach gets fired. Why does this happen? It's the same way in the business world that it is in the sports world. It's the same way in the family world. If I see, there was a video I saw on social media the other day, and it was some cops. They had came to some neighborhood to investigate a crime, and there was some little kids. I'm talking about little kids, like walking around in diapers with no shoes on. All they had on was a diaper, like a 2-3-year-old kid, and they're cursing at the cop, like hitting the cop. These are like 2-year-old kids, and they're cursing at the cop. This is not like playful hitting the cop. They were serious. They're 2-3 years old hitting the cops. First thing I'm thinking when I see that is not how wrong the babies are. The first thing I'm thinking is, where the hell is their parents? Who are their parents? And you can get a pretty good idea of who their parents are by the way the kids were behaving. Can we not? Of course we can. The reason why in corporate America an organization is failing or a department is failing, the first thing they do, they don't start firing the rank and file people. They don't start firing the players on a basketball team when the team's not performing. They don't start firing the players on a football, baseball, hockey team. They don't do that. They fire the coach. They fire the person in charge. Why? Because the person in charge, by accepting that role as the leader, you're accepting responsibility for everything that takes place within that organization. And if that organization is underperforming, you understand that your head is the first one going into the guillotine. That's the way it works. These are the standards and the objective measures by which we measure outcomes and performance in life. This is the way that it works. And I'm just using those as examples because in the corporate world, the head's rolling, and even in sports. In the WNBA, a woman can get fired. Right? The women's soccer coach can get fired, just like a man can get fired, but they're the person on top. In society as a whole, the person on top is the man. And when we get chaos in our communities like we got going on right now, that's because men are not doing their job. We get a bunch of men who have become feminized, meaning you are appealing more to your feelings than you are to facts. You're appealing more to your emotions than you are to objectivity. You are allowing these thoughts that you think of somebody's trying to hurt you, or you're trying to read another person's mind and judge their intent negatively, and you're trying to use that against them rather than looking at what's actually happening and looking at things again objectively and truthfully and in a more realistic, logical way, rational way, rather than an emotional, feminized way. And as worst of all, there's a whole bunch of you men out here who are not playing your role as a leader, and you're standing behind women. Your man, if you have testicles, it is not your role to stand behind a woman. It is the woman's role to stand behind you. But she can't stand behind you if you won't stand up and be a man and take your position like you're supposed to. So that's why she went and took the leadership role, because you ain't taking it. You ain't doing it, and she's gonna do it. Somebody's gonna do it if you don't want to do it. There was this dude who used to have I used to have dogs like back in the day, and I used to watch this TV show. I forget the name of the show, but it was this guy named Caesar Milan. Many of you probably know him because he was pretty famous, like dog trainer type guy. And I read a couple of his books, and I used to watch his TV show, and he would go, somebody had a dog and the dog wasn't behaving the way that the owner wanted the dog to behave. So Caesar would go and meet with the person and meet with the dog, and he would help fix the situation. And the main thing that he would always do is he would really work on the human, because there wasn't anything wrong with the dog, it was something wrong with the human. And the human's behaviors were leading the dog to do certain things that the human didn't want it to do. So this dog won't walk outside, or this dog's scared to walk on the floor, or this dog keeps attacking people, or this dog, whatever the dog was doing wrong that the human said. But it was always, not usually, always something that the human was doing incorrectly that was leading to the dog's poor behavior. And Caesar would say that on his show. He said, I rehabilitate the dog, but I train the human. It was the human who needed training, not the dog. And one of the things that he said in one of his books, he said dogs are pack animals. And even a pack, it could be even two people as a pack. All right, and dogs are pack animals. And if you own a dog and you don't lead the dog and you don't take control in the situation with your dog, the dog is wired to be in a pack. So it's two of you, that's a pack. Somebody's got to lead. And if the dog senses that you are not leading, the dog will take the lead. So next time you see somebody with a dog and you see the dog seems to be kind of running the show, the dog is telling the human which way we're going to walk. The dog is telling the human, all right, we can go this way, but we can't go that way. If you see a human walking the dog and the dog seems to be like, the human is behind the dog on the leash, the dog is pulling the leash to wherever he wants the human to go, that's a human who doesn't understand their role as a leader of a pet. And they're allowing the dog to walk them instead of them walking the dog. I see this happen all the time because I live in a place where a lot of people have dogs. In my neighborhood, people always have dogs, so it's just interesting to see it. And the thing is, not because people are ill-intentioned, they just don't know what they don't know. And that's why I'm making this video right here, because I want all of you to know what you need to know. As men specifically, it is your job to lead. And if you're not doing it, this is why we're getting the things that we're getting. We're getting the results that we're getting right now. And ladies who are watching this, pass this video to a man in your life. Whether it's your significant other, your father, your son, your brother, some man that you know, that you're cool with, that you work with, pass this video to them. And as a subtle way of letting them know, any man who's watching this, if you got this video from your lady, a woman, any woman in your life sent you this video, this is a subtle way of her letting you know that I'm going to tell you explicitly that she is willing to follow if you would just get some balls or relocate your balls and start leading like you're supposed to, like you were made to do. But if you don't, then we're going to continue to get chaos. That's the deal, and that's what it is. Text me, get my daily motivation text free of charge straight to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And you want to plug into my Work on Your Game system. That's the system that I created that translates everything that helped me go from the end of a high school bench to a 9-year pro basketball career. And I translated those tools into a system that applies to the business world and everyday life strategically. So if you want to get strategic about your business and about your life and about your success, I know how to do it. I can break it down, I can explain it, I can articulate it, and I can help you apply it to whatever you do. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com to help you with that right now. Work on your game. Dre, all